Today I'm going to tell you a marketing story. My husband and I love to tour haciendas, especially restored haciendas, historic buildings, because our own home is over 200 years old and we're working to slowly restore that into an Airbnb and a historic bed and breakfast space. And so every time we get a chance, like on our anniversary last week, we take an opportunity to go and explore other places that we haven't visited yet. And so the story I want to tell you today is a story of two different stories, or rather a story and a lack of a story, because this is how marketing works. Marketing with stories works. When you have a story about your product or your service, it goes so much further in terms of building rapport with your customers and potential clients. It goes so much further in making it memorable. It goes so much further in making it special. Just can't tell you how far that goes. So we decided to go to this one hacienda that is, we know it's old because of where it's located in the city, because of the ages of the other buildings around it and the history of that area. And so we pull in, and it looks like a castle. It looks like fabulous, like just amazing, like you just stepped back into time. And you walk in, and we walked into the front desk and got help with our luggage, and there's these huge stained glass windows, and it's just amazing. And the guy at the front desk, we're like, so do you guys give tours? He's like, oh yeah, we do tours of the city. I was like, no. Tours of the property. Like, we came to get to know your property. And he's like, oh, no, we don't do that. I was like, so do you have any details about the property? No. So do you have any kind of history you can tell us? No, I don't know any history. It's just totally deflated the experience. Like, we came all this way and spent this money to come stay at and visit this old place, and nobody knows any of the stories. Well, thankfully he wasn't the only one that worked here, because when we got to our room and everything, and it's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but it would mean so much more if we knew the story behind it, right? And so then we went to the pool, and there was another worker up there, another person at the pool area, and he had been here. He'd worked here about 10 years, and he did know some of the history. He did know something about the owner. He knew that the owner owned another hacienda here nearby, which now we're thinking about going to visit that one. He knew the busy seasons and the off seasons, and he knew how many people work here to serve all the rooms that they have, and just knew a lot more of the history. He went and found us the book, the scrapbook that had the old pictures in it of the place, that had some dates, and that told the stories of a couple of the people that owned the place. And come to find out, they actually have some old wooden escudo, a big shield in the lobby that has a cat on it. And the significance of that is that the name of the place, split up into two different Mayan vocab pieces, means cat's tail. So we got that much out of it, right? And so it just goes to show how much a story can enhance the experience. And so to apply this back to your business, if you have a business, a product, a service, something that you're selling, what story can you apply to it? What life can you give it? Instead of just walking into these are nice old buildings, they were restored in 2007, that's great, but tell me more, right? Instead of just, this product helps you do X, that's great, tell me more. What's possible because of that? What's the story around it? How did you get into it, right? And that's part of the reason why we tell our story so much about being missionaries and being supported by donations all the time, never knowing from month to month what was going to come in. We had to build a business to provide for ourselves and be able to stay in Mexico, where we knew we wanted to be, and to do what we felt God was calling us to do, and to create a business to make that possible. And the Lord walked us through every one of those steps to make it work. And that's part of the story of our business that is an attention point. It is a reference point. It is something that makes us memorable. It's something that makes us different, right? And so what about your product or service makes you different? You need to be telling those stories. And by story, I don't mean made up story, right? But bring out the pieces of history, the good and the bad. We were at another hacienda that part of their history was that in the days of Henneken, they actually had slaves of the local people, so not a pretty piece of their history, right? But they actually had cells underneath the porches of the main house where the disobedient slaves or the troublemakers would be put when they were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, right? It's not a pretty part of the history, but it's a part of the history. It makes it meaningful. It helps you understand what life was like at the height of the time this house was in its glory days, right? It makes it stand out from other properties who may have hidden the more sordid parts of their history, or who are afraid to share that with the public now in the days that we live in. The good and the bad makes you who you are. It's all a part of your story. So don't be afraid of the story. Don't be afraid of the becoming. Don't be afraid to, don't bury the parts of the story, because that's what makes you interesting and appealing to the public and to your potential clients. And so I just thought I would share that with you today as inspiration and as some encouragement to embrace your story, embrace all of the parts of you that are becoming, embrace that in your business, use it in your business, and we're off to see another hacienda. So have a great weekend.